the Fantasy Six-Pack Hour. With your hosts, Joe Bond.
You're awful.
And AJ Applegarth.
It's Sin Shu Chu. It's a mouthful.
All right. Welcome to the Fantasy Six-Pack Hour. My name is Joe Bond, founder of FantasySixPack.net. With me, as usual, Mr. AJ Applegarth with the upgraded background for the new office. I like it, man.
Yeah, it's getting there. It was a work in progress, but better than just a blank wall and a picture that was hung way too high. So yeah, looking good.
Yeah, it's looking pretty solid, man. I do like it. So anyway, for the show tonight, we are going to be doing our AFC East preview. Still doing more of the rolling forward here with all the football talk. And I guess without further ado, let's just bring in our guest, man. So we got Mr. Howard Bender himself from Fantasy Alarm, Director of Operations over there. How's it going tonight, man?
It's going pretty well, hanging out. Thanks for having me back. I think I last time I was on your show, I was recommending Jordan Howard as a sleeper pick. So I appreciate you bringing me back here to sling some more crap, I guess.
That's all right. We forgot that one, just like everybody else that was in Jordan Howard's camp. So it's okay. It's okay. We all make bold calls, and sometimes they don't pan out. So
yeah, it's okay. But believe me, we were all wrong, as we were just talking beforehand. I was a big Damien Harris fan last year. Yikes. That didn't work out so well. So much for waiting on the tight ends and passing on those top 3 or 4 last year. That didn't work out for me. So I feel like I'm not going to do that again this year. I'm going to try to go after one of those guys. It's just hard.
I think
everybody else is trying to.
Yeah, I think anybody who did that, who did the whole waiting on tight ends. Oh yeah, I'm fine. I can sit and wait. Is now ready to jump at Travis Kelce. It doesn't matter what the format is either, right? Yeah. You could be like playing with a tight end half point and everybody else is a point, and you're still going after Travis Kelce. I mean, he's just he's gonna get the work. He's gonna get the work. You might as well just do it.
He's so good. Yeah. So, all right, guys. Before we continue on here, though, just want to remind everybody, hit that subscribe button, that like button. Give us those reviews on those any site that you listen to us and watch us on. We appreciate the support. But before we move on, let's do our beer of the week.
Beer.
All right, Howard, you are the guest of honor, so have at it, man. What you got?
Well, much to the chagrin of the rest of the world, I like to pride myself on understanding that a good, solid can of Budweiser is really where you want to be. It says it right here on the can. I don't know if you can read that. It's the king of beers, which means that every other beer, no matter whether it's a double barrel IPA or some sort of milk stout or a trendy little sour, it's not the king of beers. So yes, cheers to you boys for that, and I'll just enjoy my Budweiser.
Is them crowning themselves the king of beers like the coffee shop in like a movie like saying, hey, we have the best coffee in the world.
World's finest
coffee.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, like I don't know, it might be, right? Like, hey, we have the best. Like, you can walk by restaurants, like, we have the best wings. Like, do you?
Right?
Who said?
Elf, right?
Who said?
He's like, taste it. She's like, well, it tastes like a crappy cup of coffee.
Yeah, like Elf. Exactly what I was thinking of. Yeah. Oh, it's good times.
Anything that has like best of excellence or majestic, something along those lines. No, go away.
I'll drink anything that's labeled as majestic.
That's, I know, right? That might be different. I might get into that.
We'll give majestic a pass on this one. But again, world's best. Whatever. It's
All right,
just
AJ.
It's bad. All right. So, being as we're in the season of giving for Scott Fish Bowl and all of that, and the fact that we're doing the AFC East, I figured it would be fitting to get not only a New England style IPA, but this one is break your tissues out here. This one is called Dina's Defiance, and it is about a woman who was diagnosed with brain cancer, but remains strong, resilient, and spirited for her kids, husband, family, and loved ones. This is a Maryland beer community collaboration, supporting her throughout her battle here. And then it's got a little QR code for donating. So, I mean, as soon as I saw it, I was like, all right, I'm getting this for just the simple fact that this is going to help somebody that needs it more than I need beer, but it's a win-win. Lots of good breweries on here from Maryland. You got Crooked Crab, you got True Respite, handful of others. So, Dina, we wish you well, and I will drink and enjoy.
Good stuff.
Well, don't I feel like crap now, right?
I know, right?
How's your king of beers now?
Wow. Wow.
Just kidding out.
Yeah. Howard's going to click. Bye, guys.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for the pie bet last year, guys, I would take offense. But I'm a charitable dude.
Speaking of pie bets, well, Joe, go ahead and do
all
your.
Right. So this is, I think it's pronounced Levante Brewing Company. It's one of the ones you gave me. It's Extra Tickle Parts DDH IPA. I only give this one a 3 3/4 on Untapped. It's just the double dry hop. You can definitely tell it's like, it's got that bite where it's very dry. And so I think if I could find I think they have a normal version of it. I'd be interested to see how that one tastes.
Not as much tickling.
Got a little more flavor. Yeah, not so much tickle. Yeah, I wasn't going there, but you did. Okay.
Hey, you opened the door by saying I'm the one that brought you the beer, so I figured I might as well slam it shut with the rest of the conversation.
Alrighty. So anyway, it's solid. But nothing like not as good as some of the ones I've had on the show before, but it's solid. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
So speaking of pie bets, I was listening in last week to the snookered pie bet you got, snookered into. I guess we'll just go ahead and say, dude.
Right? I got ambushed.
I mean,
I feel like I got bullied.
That was some crazy thing. Like, yeah, we're gonna bring this color on, and boom. Okay, well, we're gonna bet you this, and you have to do this. Like, whoa, okay, that came out of nowhere.
Right.
So,
well, the funny thing about it was then he used his kid against me, right?
it's a double whammy.
They took part in the pie bet last year, and it was funny stuff, and they shot some funny videos because they got pied more than once. But if it was just Mike from Long Island calling me up and saying why are you going up against the Islanders? But no, he was like, here's my kid. I'm gonna put my kid on the phone. Yeah. Who's gonna ask you why you hate his favorite hockey team when you both come from the same state.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna challenge you to a pie bet because you're siding with Boston right now. And dude, I took a Boston cream pie to the face.
Oh, that's a messy one.
It's a messy one. It's not fun. I couldn't eat any because, I got to go on a diet and lose some weight before Fish Tour, so I'm not some big fat blob trying to dance. And so I didn't get to eat any of it. I got smashed in the face with it. My wife, of course, it was it's like the time of her life. You listen to any video where she's pieing me in the face, it's like that giggle afterwards.
Yes,
it's just
the best.
Oh my God. She's having such a good time.
My wife and my mother-in-law both just lost it when I got mine last year, and it was awesome.
Yeah, every one that I saw of you, Howard, of Ryan Hallam from Fantasy Alarm, and you, AJ, the wives in the background are just it's just hilarious. It's like that's the best part of it.
I even said to my wife, I'm like, you tell me what marriage, is out there that's better than what you got? You've gotten to Pike because listen, we fight, we argue about stuff. I mean, that's just natural in a marriage. To think that on top of that, you get to pie me in the face. And now this has been like 9 or 10 times. This isn't this isn't like once every 5 years. No, this has been like consolidated where you've gotten to do that. I mean, I don't think I have to give her a gift for an anniversary or a birthday for the rest of her life because she's gotten to do that. You show me one other wife who's gotten to, make that happen for her.
You might have that one in the bag, man.
All right, well, let's go. Yeah. Let's talk AFC. Let's talk football here. And I
think that's what people are here to watch. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, like I said, I caught that last week and thought it was awesome. So I had to bring it up as well. But
thank you so much. Thank you, Jay. That was great. Good times. Now I'm a jerk because I'm drinking Budweiser, and now I'm not even talking football on your podcast.
You're probably never going to come on the show again. So
like the worst guest ever.
No, you're the best guest. One of the best. I can't single all the other people out now. Then no one will come on the show. But
way to go, AJ. Jeez, man.
I'm just going to crawl under the desk and put this ass man thing in front of me for the rest of the show here.
I mean, you could do that on a lot of shows, but that's cool. All right.
Way to go, ass man.
So yeah, let's start off here. So we just got some like general football related questions, right? Not fantasy specific, but the first one here, it is this division Buffalo's to lose in 2021? Like, are they still the cream of the crop, or is Belichick going to pull some strings out of his hat, some rabbits out of his hat here with New England, and they had all those signings this year? Or could possibly Miami surprise, and be a playoff contender? Unfortunately, I don't think the Jets are really there yet. They got a few years to go, so I didn't ask that part of the question. But if you want to surprise me, then go for it.
I think this is definitely Buffalo's to lose. I mean, you think about it, They've still got a great offense. They've got that Singletary Zach Moss pair. Josh Allen took a great step forward in his development. Stephon Diggs, I mean, what an amazing find, to have him there. You've got your role players, your Cole Beasleys, your Gabriel Davises. They brought in Emmanuel Sanders. It'll help, with things a little bit over there. But I mean, to me, yeah, Buffalo is just. It's a good, solid offense. The scheme works very well. They've got a great game plan. The defense is solid. So yeah, I don't have a problem with this being Buffalo's division. Miami, could they challenge? I mean, it depends on what you think about Tua and his development, whether that's going to happen. The Jets are just a hot mess. They're a joke. And they're not a joke. I mean, well, they are a joke, but they're like in the rebuilding process.
You said it, not me. It's good.
You can't even take them seriously. I'm a diehard Jets fan.
I know.
It's like it's painful at times. But I mean, listen, they're doing some of the right things right now, and I like the coaching staff that's been brought in. Was I sold on Zach Wilson? No, I wasn't sold on Zach Wilson. But I mean, listen, all in good time. Joe Douglas did a good job. He had a plan for the draft. They executed that plan. And for better or worse, that's the trajectory they're on. When it comes to New England, listen, I get it. Belichick is the master, but he's trying now to do it with like B-level talent.
Yeah.
Cam Newton's kind of done. I mean, listen, he'll run some touchdowns in again, and that's where he's going to get like fantasy value. But from a reality standpoint, this is not the guy that you're putting your trust in to march you down the field, 93 yards, on a game-winning touchdown drive that's needed. Like, that doesn't happen. You don't have an elite tight end. You've got Hunter Henry, who's great, Jonnu Smith, who's great. Is that going to be – are those guys at that level, say Gronk and Aaron Hernandez were? No, I don't think so. But I don't mind them. The receivers – I mean, you don't get more B-level than, Kendrick Bourne is your big free agent signing there. Nelson Aguilar.
Yeah.
So, I like the fact that what New England likes to do is make all their offensive weapons interchangeable so you don't know where the ball is going. That's Belichick's thing, and that's fine. But, there's a big difference between doing it with Gronk and Edelman than there is doing it with Hunter Henry and Kendrick Bourne. And it's Cam Newton versus Tom Brady. So, to me, it's just not enough talent to do it. And it's not like Mac Jones is going to suddenly turn into, Tom Brady, by the end of this season, or if they ever decide to utilize him this year. So definitely got to hand it to Buffalo.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think you said everything I could have even possibly thought of to say. So I think we got one more kind of overall arching question here.
I threw this one in, obviously knowing you're a Jets fan, and wanted to just throw it out there and get your opinion on it. So, the Jets seem like they have a youth movement going on here. Just looking through their roster, holy crap. There's barely anybody above 30 on it. They had 10 picks this year in the draft. They used the first 4 picks technically on the offensive side of the ball, 3 of which went to skill positions. Now that Crazy Eyes Gase is finally gone, what do you think we can finally honestly expect? Exactly.
Over here, Howard.
Yes. Questions this way.
I'm following the animated taco
yeah.
right now, right?
Yeah. So what do you think we could expect out of these guys? For the youngsters, for this year and really beyond, because this to me is more of like a dynasty built roster.
It is. You're 1,000% right. And listen, I think that Joe Douglas had a plan in the draft, and he did it properly. You take that first quarterback. I would have preferred Justin Fields. I'm not going to lie. That's it. I would have preferred Justin Fields because I think he projects better as a long-term NFL quarterback than Zach Wilson does. Listen, Wilson definitely has his merits, but you want to talk about the conference that he played in, the fact that he likes chucking that hero ball. Everybody's going absolutely bonkers about Zach Wilson on his pro day with that. Oh, look at that. He's rolling out left and he's throwing right. And he was accurate with it. Nobody was chasing him. He wasn't wearing pads. There was nobody covering the wide receiver who was running out there. So why are we getting so pumped up and excited about this? This is definite rebuild. So I will put my fandom behind Zach Wilson and really hope that he does get developed into being an intelligent starting quarterback in the NFL. He doesn't need to be the cream of the crop, the elite. We've seen teams win without that. Just be decent enough, be like, give me a Kirk Cousins type of floor, right? If you can give me what Kirk Cousins does, then the rest is kind of serviceable, really. So, the thing that I had the issue with for them during the draft was they didn't have a second round pick because of their moves. So when it came down to the third round, or no, they didn't have a third round pick. So when it came down to the second round pick, my feeling about it was they should have gone after Javonte Williams, right? I think he is peak. He's prepped to blossom into a three down back, every down back. I'm a huge fan of him. Could he stand to improve some pass catching? Yes, fine. But they opted to go with Elijah Moore and hope for some other running back depth later on in the draft, as opposed to depth at the wide receiver position. They were more concerned about the lack of depth at the wide receiver position in round 4 than they were running back. And so they opted for Elijah Moore, Michael Carter, instead of going Javonte Williams. And they could have gone, I think it was like Amon St. Brown or something like that was probably that 4th round wide receiver that they could have taken. So,
yeah,
that was the only issue that I had with it, but listen, I think that you've got some weapons there. It's solid head coaching for the first time. We'll see what happens. I think they're in a they're in a direction where they can move forward with this team and just kind of rebuild. But I mean, from a win standpoint, maybe they're a 4-win team, 5-win team overall. And I'm okay with that as a Jets fan if they just continue to move in the right direction.
Yeah, I'll say this about the Michael Carter and Javonte Williams like swap there. Basically, like I'll say this, like man, if Javonte Williams hadn't just like absolutely dominated like he did at UNC, we'd be talking about Michael Carter in that same stance right now. I think he's that good. He's a little bit smaller statue, and I think that hurts him as well. But the kid is good. I mean, I watch a lot of ACC games because I'm a Virginia Tech fan, so I get that exposure to him. And he, like, when Javonte Williams was on the field, Michael Carter was almost just as good. So like I think you guys are fine with him, honestly. It's just a crowded backfield, honestly. So like we'll get to that later when we talk about the Jets and the running back positions. But it's a crowded backfield, so it will be very interesting to see kind of who just takes over, or hopefully can take over for fantasy's sake, right?
Well, we hope that it's Michael Carter, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you guys, Tevin Coleman. What's worse, Tevin Coleman or my choice in beer?
I would rather drink Budweiser than own Tevin Coleman.
Probably.
And I actually like Budweiser as much as Tevin Coleman. I don't.
Nobody does.
He'll get hurt by week 3. So
pretty much.
I'll take the under.
You take the under. Preseason? Who knows? All right, well, let's jump in here to the positions. And we're using the current ADP that you can pull off Fantasy Pros, which is a consensus ADP across multiple sites here. And obviously, we've got Josh Allen, QB2. We got Tua at QB21, Cam at 28. Zach Wilson at 29, and Mac Jones at 36. So really a whole lot of nothing outside of Josh Allen. I mean, 2 QB leagues, maybe some super flex if you're looking at Tua, and maybe a Cam, or throwing a dart at Mac Jones. Who knows? But this is Josh Allen's world, and that's where our first question goes. And we're looking at look, he had an amazing 2020. The efficiency numbers were off the charts. The touchdown, Stephon Diggs coming in, and just he like everything just was working for him last year. You gotta wonder when you see seasons like that. Is that kind of the peak Josh Allen we're ever gonna see, or is there more to come, or is this just what we can expect from him? Maybe.
See, that's the thing. When you see a career year like that, and your question is is he going to be on this upward trajectory where he's going to keep doing more and more, or, can he plateau? I mean, do you think he's going to, drop like a stone? No, I don't think he's going to suddenly wake up and say, I suck at football now and can't do it. What I think that he can plateau at that level. I think, a lot of what we're going to see with Buffalo this year, a lot's going to hinge on the play calling, I think. They need to just mix it up a little bit more, I think.
Yeah.
Get Singletary and Moss a little bit more involved. You don't need to gunsling if you don't have to. Keep establishing the run and don't just dismiss, your backfield there because Josh Allen is such a good passer, because defenses are going to start to scheme that way, and the pass rush is going to come from different angles that way, and defenses are going to try and disguise themselves with that. So, I think if the play calling stays current and the team just continues with their plan, I think Josh Allen can plateau where he is. I mean, listen, you know what? There's an extra game this year, so his stats could definitely be higher.
Of course.
No doubt about it.
Of course.
Right? But, I mean, if you're talking about, let's say you take last year's numbers and you project for a 17-game season, can he hit that tally? I think he can. Maybe there's a little bit of pullback as defenses scheme more towards him, but I mean, we said it. The weaponry hasn't changed at all, so there's immense talent there, and he is a year wiser. Buffalo could very well have been in the Super Bowl last year, with the way everything went.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so we got a question here. Gabriel Davis or Manny Sanders, and it's one we were possibly get into later, but quick reaction here on it. Where you head, Howard?
For me, I've got to go with Emmanuel Sanders. Mm-hmm. I mean, they signed him to be that number 2 wide receiver, help move the chains, to be reliable. Health always an issue for Emmanuel Sanders, but he is a clean route runner. He does have decent hands. Gabriel Davis is great. They like to utilize him more as the deep threat. They let the play action develop. And I think, Davis, they play a little bit different of a game, but I think that, if push came to shove in a PPR format, if I had to take one over the other, you give me Sanders even as the new guy.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Gabriel Davis is your deep threat guy, and he's more of a DFS play for me, off and on throughout the season. He's not somebody I want to rely on all year long for me. The consistency is just not going to be there.
Right. I agree.
All right. So moving into the next question here. Thank you for the question there. What should we expect, both floor and ceiling, from Tua as he enters 2021? I mean, this is now going to be his first.
Put my glasses on to see a reaction on this one here.
First fully healthy season. He's had a full off season, or will have had a full off season of training, OTAs, preseason games, things he did not have at all last year. There's not really a QB controversy now that he's dealing with. No beard, and he's got some shiny new wide receiver weapons in Fuller and Jalen Waddle. So what do you like about Tua?
Not a whole lot. I mean,
fair enough.
I guess I can kind of turn this question around on you and ask you, what did you like about what you saw in Tua last year? Because to me, I saw a lot of inexperience. Mm-hmm. I saw a lot of panic at times. I saw a lot of mistakes. And, I did not see a lot of improvement on things that he knew he needed to improve on. So I don't see, a whole lot. It's tough for these kids to come into the NFL when they come from these amazing programs where they've had the best offensive line and they have the most elite weapons. And then they get drafted. They come in to Miami, and the offensive line is average. The NFL game is a lot faster. Players are hitting you harder. The pass rush kind of freaks you out a little bit. At least that's what I saw. You remember it was like that game that he was running up the sidelines, and I don't know if he was trying to lateral it or just throw it out of bounds before he got hit or whatever, but I was just wow, maybe somebody tried, maybe somebody punched the ball and he was fumbling it out of bounds. Either way, you looked at his face and it was oh, and I worry that Tua's development really isn't going to happen. So I worry about the value. Will Fuller, he stretches the field deep. Can Tua throw it deep? Yeah, sure. Is Tua going to have enough time and enough wherewithal to just stay with it and let Will Fuller run his route? That's the part I question. So I'm out on all things not Myles Gaskin, really, when it comes to Miami. Maybe he surprises me, but I'm not going to really take that chance. I see him being a guy who needs even more seasoning than what he's had.
Yeah, my only take on Tua here, and it's it's a dart throw. If you want to wait on quarterback, he's for sure a dart throw. The one thing that just keeps playing in my head is that, look, he came off that horrific hip injury and he had ankle injuries on top of it. And he had a COVID off season. He a whole lot of things didn't play in his favor. So now he's coming in. He's got a healthy offseason. He's still dealing with a little bit of a COVID offseason, but hopefully it's a lot more normal than, it was last year. And he does have more weapons on the offense. So there's a lot of positive things that can go his way to where, if just a couple of those land, it's it's going to help him tremendously. And he can fall into, I think, at least that like streamer category quarterback territory where, maybe you don't want to rely on him as like your QB1. I don't think he's that territory yet, but I think he could fall into that, mid-range QB2 territory most weeks, and to where there's a lot of people that play that game. Or even if he's like your backup and you play him, because a lot of people are taking 2 QBs now because you can just pick and choose which one you want any week. He could be that quarterback from time to time. Like, I just think that you could take a dart throw on him and, look, if it doesn't work out, you drop him in week 2. Like whatever. There's going to be somebody out there. If you want to take the chance that he's the guy we saw at Alabama, then I think you could do a lot worse.
So by time and time, you basically are saying week 1 if you're already dropping him in week 2 because that just wasn't his time.
I mean, he got you there, Joe. I mean,
sure.
Right?
Yeah,
I have more confidence. I'll take Sam Darnold as my second quarterback in any league, and I've got more Sam Darnold pegged like you've got Tua pegged as a possible QB2 and a guy he could stream from time to time. I don't think Tua is as good as Sam Darnold.
I will let me reflect a bit back on your flipping the script back to me, and I agree. I think what I saw in Tua was basically Jalen Hurts. He had someone else in front of him. He had to wait his turn, and in Tua's case, the beard was better. He was the better person in front of him than Wentz, and that doesn't really hurt me to say because I was never a big Wentz guy. BDN for life, but yeah, I just think that the inexperience is there, and he had all those other factors that hurt him too, but he wasn't the only person dealing with that. He wasn't the only rookie that had no camps, no OTAs, no practice other than just reading a playbook and figuring out what it was once week 1 came around. So I don't think I'm looking at him, and I mean, I was shocked at all the people, especially in dynasty leagues, that were just jumping on him in the top 5 picks of a dynasty draft, and or rookie draft for dynasty. And I mean, startup league, okay, maybe, but I don't know. I need to see a little bit more, and
I need to see a lot more.
Yeah, I just think when you're coming from Alabama, it's a great program. I can't take anything away from that. I'm not a Bama fan by any means, but it's a great college football program. It's tailored to that system. It's like the Patriots of college. So, whatever. It's not exciting to me.
I got a little more belief than you fellas, but we'll see. I mean, again, it's not. I'm not really. He's not going to be my quarterback on any of my teams because I'm going to guard to one a little earlier than that. But I can see totally waiting and
now you say that.
just taking 2 mid-round, mid to late round guys and just figuring out which one will work for you. But last question here for quarterbacks is, what's the over/under on how many games it takes the Patriots to flip the script of Mac Jones?
When is their bye week?
Good question.
Right?
Yeah,
because
I don't know.
I feel like they'll stay with Cam, even if they're playing 500 ball. Like, I mean, if they go 0-6, which will never happen to the Patriots, then they'll
figure out a way.
Awesome.
I think
I just woke up if that happened.
They have a week 14 bye. I thought it was a late one.
All right,
14,
well, yeah.
I don't think it's lasting that long.
I mean, it's so funny, right? Because you look at Justin Fields and you're like, oh, okay, week 4 Detroit. There's no doubt that's when Andy Dalton stops being the starting QB. But yeah, you can't. I don't necessarily know if you wait till week 14. I'll set the over/under at week. I'll set it at week 8.
All right. So you think they're going like 3-5 the first first 8 weeks, feeling for maybe.
We
and they
start
just
seeing,
like,
maybe we see, him like mixed in or something like that. Maybe all of a sudden, like, Cam gets a knee injury or something. And, all of a sudden we have to like, utilize Mac Jones for the first game, and Mac, and it's like against some tomato can team like the Jets, right? So then all of a sudden then he gets his first win of the season, and they're like, well, maybe we just continue with Mac Jones. And if he like totally crashes and burns in the second game, then maybe they like think about Cam again. But yeah, I think it's a matter of when they play the Jets on the schedule. The first time or the second time they play the Jets.
Week 3.
Yeah,
week 2, actually. It's week 2.
And week 7.
And then they get the Saints, the Bucks, and the Texans. Could be the Texans week what is that, 5? Week 5?
Yeah, but I think that might still be early too. And the Texans are bad enough for Cam to beat them as well.
Yeah.
And then they get him in week 7. So you're looking at week 7.
All right, yeah, so there you go. What did I say? I said week 8. Take the under.
So
take the under.
Take the under. I like it. All right, let's move on here to the running backs, and a lot longer ADP list here, but we'll just rip through it here. So, not a lot of top tier running backs here, but Myles Gaskin leads the way with RB22. Damien Harris is RB31. Zach Moss is 36. Michael Carter 38. Devin Singletary 40. James White 52. Tevin Coleman 54. Sony Michel 55, and Savon Ahmed at 59. Again, not a lot of top end talent here, as we're seeing. You kind of already talked about Gaskins.
To reach deep down the line to be like, there's one.
Yeah, I know. It's like, geez.
There's another one.
Give me the Zach Moss, Michael Carter range, and I won't talk about the rest of the running backs there. Those are the two guys who I'll target in drafts.
Yeah.
Because Zach Moss's role, and maybe even that increases a little bit more this year now that he's gotten some more time with this offense. And then Michael Carter, we
already said it. Yeah, Michael Carter is probably the guy there. At least you gotta hope.
Those two guys right there. That's your range in this division.
Yeah, so real quick here on the Patriots, right? So Damien Harris was the guy last year that you wanted to own in this Patriots backfield, which we can't say a lot. I mean, if you had to, but like, couldn't he take another step? Can he take another step forward and even be more like? I mean, Sony Michel was seen to be kind of forgotten most weeks. James White's just losing it, not a fit with Cam. I mean, so is Damien Harris like kind of undervalued at RB31 even, or is it still too much for you?
I mean, it's Patriots running backs. When was the last time that you were actually recommending that somebody start a Patriots running back, in their 10-team league? I mean, it's not going to happen. Now you throw Ramondre Stevenson.
No idea.
Right? You throw Ramondre Stevenson into the mix as well.
Yeah, that's true. This is sort of a mess.
Again, this is Belichick. This is what Belichick does, and this is what he's groomed McDaniels to do as well. It's a system. Doesn't matter who the running back is, who the wide receiver is, who the tight end is. This is how we scheme it, and the ball can go anywhere. And and that's it. They don't want to be at a spot where it's like, oh, James White's on the field, so it's going to be a pass play. Sony Michel's going to be on the field. They're going to take it between the tackles right now. So. When you have all of these guys in there, I mean, what's Damien Harris's role really going to be? Can you say that he's going to be, maybe he leads the team in carries, but is the differential going to be significant enough where you feel good about, even in a bye week, starting Damien Harris? I mean, unless it's like against a team that's given up 250 yards on the ground, in like 5 consecutive games. But then, of course, that's when Belichick's like,
just kidding. It's going to be this guy's turn this week.
All day long.
But he can't do that with Cam, so it doesn't matter.
He'll find a way.
He'll find a way.
Him with his running backs, game to game, is like the Geico commercial, I think, with the old man and the little fishing rod and the dollar. Like, ooh, come and get it.
Yeah, right.
You almost got it. You almost got it. The last time that anybody recommended a running back from them was probably the week after Jonas Gray blew up.
Oh my gosh!
and had 4 touchdowns, and then
everybody was like, Jonas Gray's the man.
The next week,
so
everybody
happened?
who recommended him was like, "Yeah, that's the first and only time I will ever do this."
I was really drunk last week when I said that. Sorry, no, just ignore me.
You shouldn't have listened to that pod. No, my bad. We got Davis on here with LeGarrette Blount, and then you got Corey Dillon was
probably the last.
Maybe Corey Dillon. That's
a
good one. That's a good one.
To me, running back that they had. And then before that, it was probably
Robert
Ben
Coates
was probably still on the team at tight end. So
Ben Coates.
I mean, that's about it. I don't know. I mean,
we're gonna go back to Super Tecmo Bowl time with our music intro before we, and even then he didn't want to start any of them because they weren't any good.
Well, yeah. We're like, damn it! Somebody took the Raiders. Son of a bitch! I'm not playing.
The Raiders and the Bills. Yeah.
Exactly. I think I would rather have, and even now today, Thurman Thomas at his current state, or back then Thurman Thomas with like a broken leg. It's just it's basically the same thing. Still better than Patriots. So
everything's better than trying to choose a Patriots back.
So we already kind of touched on the other 2 questions here a little bit. We've got Michael Carter was the next one here. I mean, who do you trust? Obviously not Tevin Coleman and Carter over him, but who do you trust in this backfield to really get the majority of the workload? You do still have LaMichael P. Ryan there, but it sounds like
he was a thing last year.
He was a thing for like 5 minutes last year. Like that's I mean, listen, I'll say this: the Jets are going to try and rotate in their backs.
Mm-hmm.
I mean that's the offense that Robert Saleh wants. Who is it? Is it Mark LaFleur? Matt LaFleur?
Matt.
Guy LaFleur?
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
That's one for you old hockey fans out there.
I remember Guy.
So LaFleur, LaFleur is going to want to try and rotate the backs in. So you'll see the splash of Tevin Coleman, and you'll see them try and like mix and match and get LaMichael P. Ryan in there. I don't really know what P. Ryan's pass catching and pass blocking skills are all about. I mean, that's really what it's going to end up being. I think the guy who shows the best pass blocking, wherewithal in the in this scheme is going to be the guy who could be on the field for the most time, take the most snaps. Whether or not that actually translates to touches, I don't know. I mean, I would have to, if I'm looking at this group, I would say Michael Carter's the guy. Like you're waiting for Tevin Coleman to get hurt. Michael Carter will always be the pass catching back. He'll never be a full every down back. But once he starts gaining some trust with the coaching staff, I think he could be there, for a little bit more than the rest of them. I mean, like again, from fantasy, Michael Carter, if I'm like, looking for a depth back, in the mid to late rounds, and maybe I'll jump on that. But I'm not, it's not a target for me.
No, this is not a team I'm targeting to run it back in. But my only concern, and I said it a little bit earlier, is he's such a small stature guy. Like he's 5'8", maybe 5'9" on a good day. Granted, he's just about 200 pounds. At least that's what ESPN's got him listed at. This is where I'm looking right now. I'm sure you go somewhere else, it got a little bit somewhere different. But he is a small back. He's really shifty though. Like that's the one thing. But I mean, I know you hate on Tevin Coleman, and like we all know the injury concerns there. But Tevin Coleman's shifty too, and he's 6'1" something. Like, so he's a bigger back. Maybe he can hold up a little more with that pass catching the pass protection. So I think that's something we're gonna have to really keep an eye on during preseason and OTAs and things like that, like who's in there during what reps and things like that.
But here's the thing, Joe. You've seen Tevin Coleman for years, right? You watched him with the Falcons. You watched him with the 49ers. Has Tevin Coleman ever blossomed into like more than your average, barely average kind of running back? He's never been, he's never taken that step forward. It doesn't matter. He was playing behind Devonta Freeman. He was playing alongside Devonta Freeman. There was just never anything really that you liked about him. And sure, maybe he surprises people and stays healthy for this year. But, are we really looking at Tevin Coleman as being like, how many years has he been in the league now, right?
Too many.
Why are we suddenly thinking that he could do something?
No, I don't think many people are. And I think it's just he only has some relevancy and discussion around him because of the team he's on and the lack of talent in that running back group that's there. I think we all agree that, Carter is the best one there, but it wouldn't surprise me to see a vet be able to outdo a rookie who's small like that. Coleman's been in the league for 6 years. Yeah, it hasn't been great. He's had some games. He's had some flashes. We all thought that when he went to San Fran, it was going to be like, oh, man. But it just didn't work out because he got injured right away. So
shocker.
It's just, that's his history. So, I think if he can stay healthy, I wouldn't be totally shocked if, us talking about him at some point as being in somebody who is fantasy relevant at some point.
Looking at these – these three guys, and then you also got Ty Johnson in the mix too. They're really all I don't know. He's in the mix, but for disappointment.
There's a reason why I didn't mention him.
Yeah.
No.
Because he sucks. But being a Gators fan, I know a little bit more about P. Ryan, and he's the biggest one of the bunch as far as weight. I think he's coming in around 216, so he's a little bigger than Coleman. Coleman's got a couple inches on him though. So they're all within the same, 5'10" to 6'1" range and like 200 some odd pounds soaking wet. They just don't have a big bruising back there. So I think that's really what you need for better pass protection in my mind. Somebody that can actually get up and stop these big linemen that are going to be flying at Wilson. So,
listen, there are some undersized backs who are good at pass block. Listen, let's face it, Gio Bernard has carved a niche out for himself because he knows how to pass block. And every time you see somebody line up to hit that dude, you're like in fear of his life. It's like watching your son play peewee football, and you're like, oh no, that's watching Gio. So, this could kind of flip into that similar of a situation.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, let's.
I didn't know you were such a Gators fan, man. Does it hurt you to not talk about Kyle Pitts during even when you're talking about other divisions?
A little bit. I was more of a Gators fan in my younger years, and I've kind of fallen out of the college game a little bit. But yeah, I still try to keep track of them when I can. And that's why I'm not a big Alabama fan. So suck it, Saban.
Suck it, Saban.
Okay.
Hashtag suck it, Saban.
Suck it, Saban.
That's going up.
It is.
Should.
I'm here to surprise.
Although I loved him in The Blind Side. He was so good, right? Come on.
He was.
Academy Award.
Totally. Absolutely.
Oh my gosh. I don't even know where to go here.
You know where to go with that? All right. Well, let's see. We talked running backs. How about some wide receivers?
Yeah, let's go to the receivers here. All right. So there's
I'm too busy tweeting out your suck at Saban.
All right. Well, you work on that.
It's happening.
I'll read these names. And
let me retweet while he's saying that. What do you got?
100%.
Just like the running backs, there's not a lot of top tier guys here behind Stefon Diggs, who's wide receiver 3. You got Will Fuller, Devontae Parker from Miami coming in at 35 and 42. Corey Davis right there, 43. Jalen Waddle at 51. Beasley, 53. Aguilar, who we mentioned, 56. Jamison Crowder, who's now decided to stay with the Jets, 61. And a bunch of other guys. So we got Mims, Gabe Davis, Manny Sanders, Elijah Moore, and then B-level guys. But their names, Jacoby Myers was a name last year. Preston Williams has been a name for what, 2-3 years now. Not very good one, but a name. Kendrick Bourne, we talked about coming in at 97, and I had to go all the way to wide receiver 99 to get N'Keal Harry on this list. So
remember how big of a dynasty grab he was in rookie drafts? Whoo, baby.
I mean, he was no Hakeem Butler, but yeah.
True.
Nice.
That is true. I mean, or no Ryan Leaf, 15 years ago.
Wow, man.
But
oh God, who was the guy Washington got a few years ago? Doxson.
Oh, Josh Doxson.
Josh Doxson, man. Thought he was gonna be awesome. I really did. He got slammed by injuries, and then just like that.
Dude, everybody thought Corey Davis was gonna be amazing, right? Oh, did you see Corey Davis? This dude was amazing at Western Michigan.
Okay, it's Western Michigan. Who's watching those games outside of Michigan?
Dude, terrible.
Maybe the team that's playing Western Michigan.
Listen, Corey Davis, like that, it was like the bane of my existence, right? Like everyone, because the truthers, like you guys are on Fantasy Football Twitter, you know that when the truthers jump in on somebody, it's nauseating. Like it's downright nauseating because they ignore everything that they've seen right now. And they still weigh it in on like what he did in college and what his potential is, but they're not looking at current situation or anything like that. And like it was like Corey Davis is in a run first situation in Tennessee, and and he's opposite a kid like AJ Brown or I can't remember who the top wideout was before him, before Brown was there, but you were like.
Yeah,
Corey
wasn't
Davis
great.
That was
never going to do anything. He's never going to blossom into what you think what you're hoping is. It's like betting the over because you hope for a high scoring game, right? That's Corey Davis right there for the truthers. And now he comes to the Jets, and is he going to be the number one on there? I guess. All right. I prefer that you work more with Denzel Mims than you do Corey Davis because I think that there's better upside there. So I mean I can't. I mean out of the wide receivers in this in this division, I mean to me right now it's Diggs, and then late round darts on like Beasley, Gabe Davis, Mims, and that's kind of it. And everybody's like thinking about Jamison Crowder, but I'm like, yeah, that was with Sam Darnold, and that was with Gase's scheme and his passing system. Saleh's offense is going to be different, and it's not going to, focus on the slot receiver. I'd almost have more confidence in drafting Chris Herndon. As the tight end for them because of, what Saleh saw with George Kittle and how that offense worked. So very limited wide receivers for me in this division at all.
Yeah.
Top to bottom, maybe like 3 guys.
Yeah. So real quick, you've been talking a lot about the Jets. And so Corey Davis is a guy who kind of broke out a little bit last year, of course, right beside AJ Brown. Sorry. Is there any hope that he can continue this in the Jets offense?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, listen, they're going to have to – listen, they're going to play from behind.
There's always hope.
Nonstop. They're going to play from behind. All right, let's throw that so you think there's a – so you're saying there's a chance. I mean, listen, he's going to see targets. It's going to happen at some point. Could he end up with, by the end of this season – 850 to 900 yards and 5 or 6 touchdowns? Yeah, probably. But, I just don't necessarily know if this Jets offense is going to really be able to produce a 1,000-yard receiver with 8 to 10 touchdowns. I just don't think they have it in them for that.
No, I don't either. And then you quickly brought up, Crowder. There's a lot of talk on Twitter, and I don't really even know really where it's coming from. I'm sure it's rumors from some beat writer somewhere. Crowder might be on the way out. So how much does that change Elijah Moore? There's talk that he could be in the slot, and then if he's in the slot, you don't like him because of the offense, or is he the other outside guy from Davis?
I think because he spent so much time in the slot, I think that's kind of where they're going to utilize him. I mean, they just came to an agreement with Crowder on a deal.
Oh, that's right, they did.
Yeah.
So
I totally forgot about that.
He's going to be there.
When I mentioned him. I mentioned that he's staying with the Jets.
I don't listen to
I
you
was
half
with
the time,
you, AJ. Don't worry.
I know you were. At least somebody listens to me.
Did my wife just walk in the room? Oh shit!
I literally just said, even my wife. No, she might be actually listening. So, hi, honey, I love you.
I mean, I think if you're sitting there and you're looking for a guy who's going to fill in for a bye week for you, yeah, okay, I could see Corey Davis filling that spot. If it's a good matchup. But I mean, this is a guy who, I'm probably only drafting in like a best ball. Or if I do pick him up in a redraft league, he's probably like my fifth wide receiver.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Corey Davis. I know, you mentioned the truthers out there. They're all over it, and they still are.
Unbelievable.
Big body, fast receiver, but like, come on, man. Unless he was next to one of the best receivers in the game right now, he wasn't getting anything done. And that, he broke out last year finally, and I was like, all right, fine. You finally made me look stupid. Thank you. Good luck keeping it going.
Why do the truthers always cling to shitty players?
I have no idea. I have no idea.
So bad. It's just
they're the same ones who like berate female analysts too.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
They're like Corey Davis is the greatest wide receiver in a bit. This chick doesn't know what she's talking about. I'm gonna DM her an eggplant emoji, see what she says.
Yikes! We'll move on. All right, so next team here, we talked about him a little bit earlier. And Emmanuel Sanders. I mean, look, last year I think we all kind of thought he'd kind of bounce back after the injury and be good. He unfortunately wasn't. Not always his fault though. I just don't think the quarterback throwing him the ball. Unfortunately, Drew Brees wasn't quite Drew Brees last year. So now that he's got Josh Allen throwing him the ball, what's your kind of take on Sanders?
Like I said, I think he's more of he's a move the chains type of guy.
Mm-hmm.
Will he get the occasional touchdowns? Yes, but if it's 3rd and 6, he's going to run a 7-yard route and they're going to hit him, right? Like that's what you're going to end up seeing a lot of him. Stephon Diggs is the guy who drives the bus in this offense, and that's just. I mean, we saw Diggs take that, take his game to the next level as the featured wide receiver, and he didn't disappoint. He was amazing last year.
Yeah,
he really was, and that's really, that's once you've established that rapport with your QB, they're not going to part ways. He's not going to suddenly start looking for this other receiver, that they bring into the team, like especially if it's like a lesser receiver. Like I'm not saying that, it's not like, Sanders was there and he and Josh Allen bonded and then they go and they bring in a ringer like Stephon Diggs or like last year, everybody was like John Brown. I love John Brown. They bring in Diggs. Where's John Brown? He's nowhere to be found.
Yeah.
that's that. But you're not going to replace Diggs by bringing in Emmanuel Sanders and he's not going to lose targets. Like Julio is not going to take targets away from AJ Brown in Tennessee. So I think that Sanders will be a decent guy. He'll probably get the second highest number of targets in this offense. He'll be good, but again, he's not going to be this. Oh my God, I got to target this guy.
So you're saying I should target him in Scott Fishbowl because I get points for first downs.
Oh yeah.
There you go. Whoa. Maybe I should have given that secret away because one of my league mates is listening. Forget I said it.
Mine are all like hiding out in a corner, like listening to their like Last Fish show and like so high they don't know what's up.
You're also in like the most stacked league ever. So yeah, they don't need to listen to us. All right, AJ. Last question for receivers. Let's do this.
Last receiver question we got here. It seems like Miami already had a stockpile of familiar faces down there with Parker, Williams, even Lynn Bowden Jr., Wilson. Now they've got some new talent that I mentioned earlier with Waddle and Fuller. So obviously there's a lot of mouths to feed down there. I mean, with Tua basically not succeeding, who do you think will end up as Miami's top 3 by the end of this season?
Well, I mean, I think it'll end up being Devontae Parker, Will Fuller, and Jalen Waddle. I mean, you got to figure that the familiarity with Waddle is going to help Tua a little bit, make him feel comfortable. I mean, that's one of the primary reasons that they brought him in. It was like, Joe Burrow sitting there like a Isla Fischler in Wedding Crashers, trying to get holding their breath and stomping her feet. That was Joe Burrow trying to get Jamar Chase drafted in there, and I think that rang a little true with Miami, saying, well, let's make him a little bit more comfortable. Let's bring in a familiar face like Waddle. He'll be able to they'll be able to bond with each other and, hang out, and he'll, just kind of keep them more at ease. But I mean, I think that, you didn't bring in Will Fuller to not have him be a featured, part of your passing game. And he definitely stretches the field beautifully. And then you've got right in between Waddle and Fuller, Waddle being, probably, working out of the slot a lot more and, being that safety cushion for him. And then you got Devontae Parker in the middle there where he can stretch the field, but he can also, run like those underneath slants that need to be done as well. So, I mean, I think those are the top 3 in this one here. I think Preston Williams, I mean, it's a shame. I like the talent on him over the years, but I mean, health is one thing. And then I just think that, they've set what their top 3 is, and it doesn't include him.
Yeah, I mean, we can just jump into the next question here because it's yet another mouth to feed with the tight end position, and that's Mike Gesicki. He is the tight end 11. Rip through these real quick. We talked Jonnu and Hunter Henry are right there, 15, 16. Buffalo's Dawson Knox is tight end 28. Who cares? And Chris Herndon, tight end 30. Sleeper, as we already mentioned. So with all that being said about the receivers, are you buying Gesicki at all in 21, hoping that maybe this breakout's actually going to happen? Because both Joe and I were, the Gesicki truthers last year, and that fell horribly wrong.
Listen, I was in on him too. It had all the earmarks. I guess when his video went viral of him in the backyard throwing the ball over his house and then catching it, right? When that video broke, I think that kind of ruined Gesicki. It was like it jinxed him.
Like
but
those
no,
old Reebok commercials, man.
Right? I was in on him too. And I like him a lot. But yeah, you're right. Too many mouths to feed right now. Where I mean, you're at the point where you're like, you know what? Let me just let somebody else overdraft him. I won't be upset with Gesicki if he falls a little further than what his current ADP is. Listen, if I'm waiting on the tight end position, there are worse guys to get than him. But he's a guy you're settling for right now. I think he can kind of plateau. I don't think it's going to get any better for him because of the way that they have, their receiving core set up. But I think that he can be still an active part of the passing game.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not as high on Gesicki as I was last year, not because of what he did last year. Like, surprisingly, he actually finished pretty well as far as tight ends go, like overall wise. But like, if you didn't have those top 3 or 4, it was just kind of like it didn't really matter. As far as Gesicki, like, just because they've brought in all these other weapons, I think that hurts him. The only thing that might go in his favor is, he's had at least the few games with Tua throwing him the ball. he's not somebody I'm targeting this year unless I've just missed on a whole bunch of other guys. I've seen him fall. They have him at tight ends 11. Yeah, unless I miss on Kelsey, then I'm
if I
going
miss on
Gesicki.
Kelsey, Kittle, or Waller, then I'll consider Mike Gesicki.
Basically, Gesicki's is one of those guys. Like I've actually seen him fall way farther than tight end 11, and so at that point I was kind of like I took him in a best ball league at like tight end 16, and I'm like, well, fine, okay.
You almost feel obligated.
I was just kind of like, yeah, I mean, sure, why not, man? My first one was Waller, and then Gesicki just kept falling, and I'm like, well, yeah, sure. I'll do it now. That was pretty much it. So, the next tight end group we're going to talk about here is the New England guys, and we talked about it earlier. Jonnu and Hunter Henry both signing, which was like huge surprise. How do we see this working in New England? Like, is this the second coming of the tight end duo they had a few years ago? Not to mention names because I don't want to mention one of them. But are they just gonna like kind of kill each other's value?
Snoop Dogg playing in the background.
Ooh, is Snoop playing in the background?
little murder was the case. I don't know.
Yikes.
Listen, I mean, you're never going to have, I mean, they can try to recapture that magic. I think Hunter Henry might have the edge in pass catching only because I think Jonnu Smith is a better blocker, and I think that's
that.
I think that's going to, I mean, they'll still have him release and he'll get the work. But again, like that's the thing. Who's going to have, if you're thinking about the targets pecking order in New England, you've got Aguilar, you've got Bourne, you've got Jonnu Smith, and you've got Hunter Henry, right? I mean, that's N'Keal Harris. White. Sorry, I forgot N'Keal Harris. I forgot Hakeem Butler.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's really kind of where it's at. I think both guys will get work. I think that it's, I'd love to grab them both in a best ball. Like, if I'm picking on the wheel and it's like, all the way down in like round like 13 or 14 and I haven't taken, a tight end and I can just double up that pick and do Henry and Jonnu, I'd feel okay with it there. Again, you just don't know where the targets are going to go. You can kind of guesstimate based on who's the better blocker, who's the bigger target. But overall, I mean, again, you'll zig and Belichick will zag.
Yeah, it's still tough. I mean, who knows? Maybe the offense will just be geared toward two tight ends again. Because we mentioned, the receivers really aren't much to really care about. So it could be there, but again, you're looking at Cam Newton, and do you want to rely on anybody catching the ball from Cam Newton, consistently? Not really.
Just the end zone. That's it.
Just in the end zone. But he's going to poach those touchdowns.
I was going to say, yeah.
He's a selfish SOB,
that's what I'm
isn't
saying. The end zone will be catching him as he goes with his
I got you.
To get.
I got you. And Scott's telling you good luck in your in your Scott Fishbowl league. We've been having a talk on Periscope about your league, and he was like, "Yeah, my league's stacked." And then I was like, "Yeah, look at Howard's. Good luck."
Yeah.
So, yeah, pretty rough there, but.
The irony of a bunch of dirty hippie fish fans being like, the stacked fantasy league here, which is kind of funny because I actually, I ended up back in 1999, Fish had a festival in August in Oswego, New York. And my whole crew who I played fantasy with, we all went up for it, rented the ginormous RV and whatever. And then so before the shows, we ran a draft, like a 3-day draft during the festival. So in the morning, during the day, we would draft a bunch of rounds. Then we'd go to the shows at night and have fun. And the next 2 days, we ended up doing that. So
that's awesome.
They kind of go hand in hand now for me.
That's pretty awesome, man.
Well, yeah, speaking of Oswego and hippies, I've got the Ithaca Beer Company's Flower Power here as my third choice. The second one, which I cracked open, is Choicest Nugs by Black Flag Brewing. And it's
they've got a lot of those Nugs ones. Those are pretty funny names.
Citra Mosaic and Galaxy hops. Yeah, I mean it's
the guy who brewed that. The guy who brewed that. What do you think his dreads smell like?
What's in this beer? Probably. I mean, I'm sure he was just
right.
Getting that extra.
He's like, let me do some dry hopping with my dread hops here.
dread hops.
So Scott's asking you. He wants to know. What do you think about Drew Davenport, Dalton Del Don, and Scott Pianowski? That's his league. That's pretty good.
Oh, that is pretty good.
That is pretty good.
Pretty good. Yeah.
2 Yahoo guys.
Right?
Yeah, it's weird that you see guys, especially like the high end analyst guys like that, and you wouldn't be in the same league as another fantasy alarm guy most typically, but it's weird to have like two of the top guys like hit each other in the same league. So that's interesting.
Well, you know what I do? NL Labor with Dalton. So if Scott needs some tips on how to get to Dalton, get under his skin a little bit, get into his mind, I can help you. Pianowski, he's a machine.
Yeah, those guys are good, man. All right, so that's it for the show. I want to thank you for coming on, and but before you go, let everybody know what you guys got going on over there at Fantasy Alarm. I know you talked about a redesign and stuff like that, so let them know what you got.
We did. We launched a brand new look into our site. We basically what we tried to do was make it a little easier for people, and because we have so much content, from DFS content, season-long content, wagering content, that we split it up into Fantasy Alarm, DFS Alarm, and Wager Alarm.
Oh, I like it. I'm looking at it now. Yeah, it's good.
People are starting to get used to it. You just guys got to remember that the links across the top, red Fantasy Alarm, green Wager Alarm, blue DFS Alarm, those are clickable, and those will take you to the sites. Those will take you to where you need to be. So we did that. We also just launched the start of the NFL Living Draft Guide. I did my rookies and my sleeper picks. Joey Cardilano, who joined the staff this year, he's got his rookie analysis in there. League strategies, everything you could possibly want over there. If I could do a shameless plug, fantasyalarm.com/draft now, and then use the promo code draft now for 20% off. And for less than $16, you get yourself incredible draft. It really is. I'm proud. I'm very proud of it. So a lot of work went into it. It's again, you're going to see articles and content trickle out steadily, including this Friday when Andrew Cooper at Coop A Fiasco. If you guys have ever read his work, it's
absolutely
insane. He's dropping the article called "Winning the Scott Fish Bowl" this Friday.
Nice.
We have tons of Scott Fish Bowl people watching. That was a good shameless plug there. You got that one.
I'm not a marketing
You might know what you're doing.
I mean, you have to respect Coop's analysis, right?
Absolutely. Hey, he knows what he's talking about for sure.
He's awesome. I still am in the SFBX Scott Fishbowl 10 chat on Twitter, and he's still like throwing stuff out all the time. I mean, that thing's been going for over a year now, and it's just a great group in there that's still chatting. So I keep up with it. I don't really comment too much, but I love seeing the articles come through. And Coop's a knowledgeable
Coop's got some great stuff. So I mean, that's what you got. So that's what's happening over there. You guys can always catch me on the Fantasy Alarm Show on SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio, Monday through Friday, 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern. If you're fantasy baseball in it still, I'm writing for the New York Post. I'll be doing some fantasy football content over there as well. That's just not in season yet for them. But that's where you can find me. And, Oh, the Annie Up podcast. How about that? Me and Adam Ronas. That's always fun. Dropping F-bombs, yelling at each other all the time.
Where's that at?
Yeah.
You know what? It just got picked up by the SiriusXM app.
Oh, okay.
Pandora,
Hey.
Stitcher,
Hell
it's
yeah,
on
man.
Spotify, it's on
Fantasy
iTunes.
XM app. I like it.
There you go.
So I do listen to some of their podcasts, so that's good. I'll catch you on there for sure. Because unfortunately, I don't have a morning commute anymore, or an afternoon commute anymore, so I don't get to hear you every day.
I get the app.
I do, but like my kids are here, and it's just too much.
Teach them young, Joe. Teach them young.
They hate sports for some weird reasons right now.
Probably
because I do too much of
so
it.
Much.
Yeah, it's because I do too much of it.
Joe, you'll want to watch the Friday night's episode of Getting Buzzed. It's my top 10 list that's on the show there. I'll just, top 10 ways to mind murder somebody, right?
Oh, nice.
Like, you just get there. You just get to a point where you meet somebody and you're just like, wow, it's really, and you start thinking of ways that you would kill this person.
Yeah. I need to listen to that.
Check out that top 10 list. That'll be dropping Friday night.
Sounds good, man. All right. Well, again, appreciate you coming on. It was a good time as always. I have a laugh, lots of laughs. So we'll have to do it again soon.
Thanks so much, guys, man. Definitely a pleasure being back with you here.
All right.
Absolutely. Thanks, Howard.
See you, man. Alrighty. So yeah, that's all I got for the show. Next week we are, just to make sure I'm right, because I know we're mixing in not just the previews in a row here, so I want to double check. Yeah, so next week is AFC North with none other than Sam Holt, huge Steelers fan, so that'll be fun to talk about there. And then, that one's going to be on the 24th, so that one is back on Thursday. I will be back from vacation, hopefully well ahead of time, but I should be not too far away, so we'll be good there. Anyway, that's all I got tonight, man. You got anything to add before we close it out?
No, good show, great guest, good times. Cheers.
Cheers, man.
Oh, and the Sixers blow. Sorry, that's what I will add in. They're again blowing a 20 some odd point lead.
Ooh.
And this time right at the end of the game. So good job.
Is Embiid healthy? I've barely been paying attention.
Yeah, Embiid and Curry are the only two people that have scored in the second half, basically.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, that's a good recipe.
It's, there's I think 10 seconds or 18 seconds left. It's 104.
And they're gone.
10.2 seconds left. 104, 107, Atlanta.
Oh, fun. All right.
Great.
Well, see y'all later next week. Peace.
Cheers.